was asking a question earlier about what is the price that is, if you could clarify that for them,
Yeah.
on the economic.
Sure. So when you go to court, the jury can award you money kind of based in three buckets, just layman's term. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just explaining it to you as I understand it. And that's economic. That's what you can turn a receipt in. It's medical bills. It's real things you've lost. Non-economic, which is pain and suffering. It's loss of a life. It's things that it's harder to turn a receipt in for. How much is your arm worth? How much is a wrong operation worth? How much was your tire not being put back on correctly? And then punitive damages, which are a punishment from the jury. And so non-economic is where you get your award particularly for people who don't have a job, a stay-at-home mom, a child, someone who's retired, or someone who's in the nursing home. They may not have economic damages anymore, but their life is valuable. We don't want to put a cap on that.
Okay. Also, she spoke a lot about the judges. Can you explain that? I was under the impression it did not really address the judges. So can you clarify that for me?
It's kind of a little bit of a bait and switch. Everybody likes to, I'm a conservative, and I like to fuss about anytime I think a judge is being an activist. I like to fuss about that too. But unfortunately, issue one doesn't punish bad lawyers who file frivolous lawsuits. Issue one doesn't do anything about activist judges. What issue one does is it puts a limit on juries. So just everyday Arkansans who come and hear a case, we say to them, we no longer trust you. It's better if the lobbyist and the corporate interest and the big money in Little Rock decides how much you can award. And so we're saying to a jury, that's really what it limits. It's not putting a limit on the judges. It's putting a limit on juries, saying that, which is crazy, because if we can trust Arkansans as a jury to give the death penalty, and I trust them to make that decision, then we ought to be able to trust them to decide if a company owns $1 million for leaving a child in a daycare van.
The restrictions on an attorney on the guilty side is what rate? And on the other side that is guilty, do they have restrictions if there's a lawsuit filed?
Yeah, so Amendment 1 puts a cap on contingency fees for plaintiff attorneys, but it doesn't put a cap on defense attorneys who are being paid by corporations by the hour. So it makes it like by an hourly rate, things like that. Okay. So what makes hard is, if you are a big company, you probably have attorneys on staff or firms retained. But if you are just a working family and your child is injured, or your mother's abused the nursing home, or just something bad happens, your family gets hit by a drunk driver, you may not even know what attorney to call. And these cases can drag out for years and years and years. And so most of the time, these families have to hire someone on a contingency. And what that means is that if they win, then that attorney that fronted the money is going to get a large piece because they took the risk of it. But if they lose, then they won't have to pay. And that's really, so the one concern that some people have about that is that this could keep families that can't afford to pay attorneys ongoing. This could keep them from being able to sue large corporations. Like State Farm just settled a lawsuit this last week.
Okay.
And that lawsuit, it claimed it took 20 years because they had great lawyers and they drug it out. But ultimately they admitted in their settlement that they had required that if you're insured with them but you had an accident, this is not Arkansas State Farm, this was nationally excluded, okay. 2 states including Arkansas, but that your car parts had to be replaced with used parts. But the families who had policies with them didn't know that. And it's hard to be a regular family fighting against a big old company like that.